You're having a tough time moving a solo along. Just start on a non-chord tone, especially some of the suspended notes, like the 4 or the 2. If I have my A major here, and I come in with a 4, it's gonna want to move somewhere. You know what I mean? If I come in with a 2, it's gonna want to move somewhere, right? If I'm just coming in with a chord tone, especially the root note, yeah, I don't know, it could just stay there. You know, you're already coming in settled. Come in with a little bit of a question, with a little bit of movement, right? With a little bit of dialogue. For me personally, it's that 4 that does it. That 4 really wants to move. Now, if that's not very exciting, you can sort of frame it. What I mean by frame it is 4, or whatever the tone is going to be, right? That's going to be the aim, but you don't have to just play that. So if I have that 4 in my mind, right, I have a little bit of a lead in before I get to that 4, right? But that's going to be the main focal point of that phrase. So try that. It works. You know, you can do the 6. Anything that's not a chord tone is going to want to move. Right? Is going to want to move to a chord tone, right? And just to be cognizant of, you know, sort of chord tone, how much pull that chord tone has. Like, you know, in my ear, the 4 really does. The 2 does as well, and the 6 is probably has the least amount of pull to my ear, but that can be different for you. And then when it wants to move to a chord tone, just remember that the 3, even if you're in minor, so the flat 3, but the 3 of whatever the tonal center is going to sound settled, but the least settled of the chord tones. The 5th is going to be a little bit more settled, and then of course, when you get to your root note, it's almost as though that paragraph or that story ends, and we're sort of onto the next scene. It's minor. From here in B minor, right? That 2. You know, if I'm playing in B minor, that 2 is definitely going to have the same pull, right? And then if I go to that 4. It's going to have that same idea. The notes, obviously, in minor are going to interact a little bit differently, whether it's a 6 in Dorian or a flat 6 is going to be different than the 6 in major. If you're a guitar player sort of stuck in that really boring guitar solo plateau that we all get stuck into, you really want to bridge the gap between your creative ideas and what you're able to play. Becoming fully fretboard fluent, comment pro below, and we can get started.